Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show, where I'm Michael Pinter. I teach you how to start flipping and wholesaling houses in New York, or if you're doing it, how to grow your business. Forgot to shave today. I really should do that. So this is a question I get a lot lately. To me, it seems a little weird, but I think I understand where it's coming from. The question is about the binding process of when a seller says yes to you and how they are now obligated to sell to you. Now, I think this comes from a lot of people. I think this comes from a lot of people on the internet who are adamant about not leaving a seller's house without a contract. I just did a podcast interview with Eric Lacha in Pennsylvania, and he was big like, I got to leave there with a contract. In New York, you can't leave with a contract. Contract's not binding. There is nothing in writing that obligates a seller to sell to you once they say yes. You can look at my board. My biggest column on the board, I can show you on my board of deals. My biggest column right now is sellers that have said yes to me, but I don't have them under contract yet. And that happens, that happens a lot. And there is no way to legally obligate a seller in New York to sell to you, right? If they sign something like a contract, for example, I don't think you could really enforce it. So it's just something you got to deal with in New York, where there is this time period between when a seller says yes and when you are actually going to be under contract. It could take a month. In a lot of other states, you're closed by then on a wholesale deal. But the process is slow in New York. That is how it works. You got to stay on top of the seller. Seller sometimes has to find an attorney. Seller's attorney can be bad. Seller's attorney can send a horrible contract to your attorney. Your attorney may have to negotiate. And again, occasionally 1 in a million, the deals die. But usually what happens is that the seller's going to ask for help, and you have to plant the seeds of assignability, of lower EMD, a lower deposit, showing the property if you want to wholesale it. So those are things you want to talk to the seller about. You want to be in touch with the seller, but they're not obligated to you. Now, can another investor come, offer more money and take it from you? It is possible. But I don't think that's ever happened. Maybe once it's happened to me in a lot of deals. So you're not protected. I know for a lot of people watching the internet, they think that's a crazy thing. But the whole mindset of how long a transaction takes in New York is much different than what you see on the internet, where things are going lickety-split really quick. So there is no binding process. The contract gets prepared by the seller's attorney, gets sent to your attorney, is negotiated, gets sent to the seller's attorney, seller signs it, then, you sign the contract, then the seller signs the contract, and then you're in contract. That is how it works. There is no binding. There is no agreement that can really obligate the seller to sell to you unless a contract is signed. And even if a contract's signed, if he has been represented by an attorney, I would say that you're going to have a hard time enforcing that contract. That is the way it works in New York. I know it's different than what you see on the internet. There is, from the best of my knowledge, there's nobody else teaching how this works in New York except me, which is crazy. Every time I say it, I almost don't believe it. But what I think about this is that there is an advantage to this, because in other places where it's very easy to get into contract, it's very easy to get out of contract. In New York, where it's hard to get into contract, it's impossible to get out of the contract. So you got to take the good with the bad in New York. It still works. I prefer doing business in New York because of all the great advantages, such as making more money, less competition, getting harder to get out of contract. And I take the challenges of dealing with attorneys and all the other things that come with it. So if you like these videos, please click like. If you want information on how I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. All comments get responded to. If you have any interest in a video that I can do, this came by request. I'm happy to do that. Any questions for me, you can put in the comments, or my phone number is in the show notes. So feel free to contact me if you have any questions, and I'm happy to help you. Thank you very much for watching.